A 25-year-old woman named Ansi Alibaba had come to Christchurch like me to pursue higher studies. She was a master's student at Lincoln University. And like me, she hailed from Kerala, a small state in the southern part of India. Ansi was an avid reader and dreamed of building her career in New Zealand and a better future for her family. On the day of the massacre, she ran into the Al-Noor Mosque to check on her husband. She was among the 51 victims of the Christchurch massacre. I still cannot believe that a massacre of this scale could happen in Christchurch. This quiet city. Not so quiet. Okay, everyone hear me? Yeah. Quiet city that has been my home for the past 4 years. In the days that followed, we came together and mourned, denouncing the violence and the ideology that led to it. While the terror attack of March 15 was caused by an individual, I think this is the time to recognize that his beliefs derived from a context or environment that perhaps we all have contributed to or have been passive participants in. We are born into a global system of perpetual war. We are born into a system that dehumanizes certain peoples. In many ways, this is a continuation of colonization in what was termed by Ghanaian leader and scholar Kwame Nkrumah as neo-colonialism. The terrorists of March 15 is a product of this neo-colonial environment. The immigration patterns we see today are a byproduct of history, a byproduct of global geopolitics, and a byproduct of the exploitative global economic order. We are seeing this neo-colonial system play out today in Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, and now even Iran. The interventionist approach of Western superpowers continues to kill thousands and displace millions. The result of this is forced migration and the production of millions of predominantly Muslim refugees. Despite the cruelty they endure on multiple levels, these immigrants and refugees are then framed as a threat to Western nations, the very nations that are largely responsible for their creation in the first place. The neo-colonial system results in viewing certain immigrants as desirable and deserving, and others as undesirable and undeserving, sometimes even subhuman, and are left to die in the oceans on their dinghies and detained on islands. A white immigrant from Australia took this idea of deserving and undeserving immigrants to the extreme when he felt that it was well within his rights, a white Australian, to enter New Zealand as an immigrant himself and take the lives of those he considered as undeserving immigrants. The narrative of deserving and undeserving immigrants is in fact detrimental to everyone, not just immigrants. It perpetuates fear of the undeserving immigrant, who then becomes a scapegoat and is blamed for the failure of the economic and political systems in the host countries. This is evident in the political rhetoric around the world and visibly in countries like the USA, the UK, and even here in New Zealand. Today, before I came to this march, I saw hundreds of people online dismissing this march where we've gathered, claiming that Islamophobia is not racism. The historical roots of Islamophobia, again, lie alongside colonization and white supremacy. Islamophobia is inextricably linked to certain racialized groups of people. Can you deny that? And I find it difficult to believe that these people do not understand that this undeniable fact. These are grown adults. They seem to be using this argument that Islamophobia is not racism as an excuse to justify their own demonization of a culture and a group of people, which is exactly what racism does. In fact, the most important aspect of racism is the cultural aspect of it. viewing racialized people as strange and culturally backward. Racism exists within the systems and structures we are embedded in. It operates at all levels, right from the individual and the family, out to the larger structures of government, media, and socioeconomic systems. Colonial attitudes play an important role in driving global geopolitics of our day. In order to fight racism, we cannot limit our focus just to the individual level. The Christchurch terrorist is an individual who killed 51 of our Muslim brothers and sisters. On a global scale, however, countries, including New Zealand, take part in wars that kill thousands of civilians, who are then dismissed as collateral damage. Meaningful change can only happen when racism is defeated at all levels. Let us begin this fight here today. Kia ora, aroha nui. Thank you.